What's the issue? Are you okay? What's the problem? When you prove a bit, you're doing what we know just sound. Yeah. You can't hear? Yeah, fix it. Are you okay now? No? Sirite ile ya kawaida kama hii machine.
Are you okay now?
Huh? Because sawa? Distorted. Leave the mic bwana. Give me my normal thing. Huh?
Yeah. To move away from the camera. Move a little bit this way. Ambassador. Yeah.
Hapo ni sawa sasa? Sasa tuko sawa sawa? Haya. Haya, asanteni wenzangu. A fellow cabinet secretary, Your Excellency Annette Gunther, Ambassador of the Embassy of the Federal Republic of Germany, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. The world is currently undergoing an unprecedented health, socio-cultural, and economic crisis occasioned by the current pandemic COVID-19 disease. Before this outbreak, we have seen the turmoil caused by Ebola virus disease in the Democratic Republic of Congo and the West African region at large over the last few years. These emerging and re-emerging infections remind us of the persistent threat they pose to our national, regional, and international public health settings. In this regard, it is imperative to scale up adequate and efficient preventive measures in order to contain and avert these disease threats. As we do so, as we safeguard the health of our people in the East African region, we are proactively looking to enhance our capacity in mitigating these health challenges through strengthening of disease surveillance and response systems. A key pillar in this strategy is strengthening of laboratory network across the region. The Federal Republic of Germany, through the German Development Bank, has already supported the establishment of a regional network of public health reference laboratories for communicable diseases. These labs will therefore strengthen each partner state's capacity in this area. To achieve all this, the East African Secretariat has overseen the procurement of mobile lab units, training of laboratory experts to operationalize these units, and are scheduled to cascade knowledge transfer in order to build a critical mass of scientists across the country. In the last month, we have seen a rise in COVID-19 cases detected among truck drivers at various border points. We recognize the truck drivers and their counterparts in the transport industry for their continued support to ensure that we have adequate supplies of food, of medicine across the East African countries. They have endured long journeys and waiting times at border points as each country tries to be vigilant in their containment measures against the COVID-19 disease. And for this, we are grateful to our truck drivers, and we apologize and regret the inconveniences they continue to experience, because when they experience these inconveniences, it also means their families suffer in the process. And for this, we apologize, but regret to say that these are necessary measures. And therefore, to address these challenges, the country has put in measures to ensure that the truck drivers are tested on time and prior to their journey and receive a repeat test each 14 days. The mobile labs are equipped with modern PCR and ELISA machines that are able to diagnose most pathogens causing communicable diseases such as Ebola and COVID-19. I am aware that they have a combined capacity to support some 2,000 tests per day and couldn't have come at a better time to complement our existing laboratory network. We plan that one lab will be stationed in Namanga, where, as you know, there is a problem, at the Kenya-Tanzanian border, and the other at Naivasha, which is now our dry port. In addition, we are also receiving mobile lab accessories, consumables, PPE, ICT, things like laptops, satellite phones, and electrical system. So we are gathered here today to receive these mobile labs, testing reagents, consumables, and other accessories. I want to take this opportunity to thank the people and the government of the Federal Republic of Germany through the German Development Bank for availing finances for the project. The Bernard Nocht Institute of Tropical Medicine for their technical assistance, the Ministry of East African Community for coordinating, and the East African Secretariat, who have worked tirelessly to ensure that the EAC Secretariat, who have worked so much and over lengthy hours to make this happen. I want to take this opportunity also to thank the German Embassy in Nairobi for their continued support, not only of this particular project, their support for the East African Cooperation, their support for us in various sectors of our economy, and we hope and trust that this is something that will continue in years to come. So at this juncture, before I proceed on, I want to invite my colleague, CS Mohammed, to come and make a few remarks before we receive the laboratories from the German Embassy. Karibu ndugu yangu.
Thank you very much, CS Kagwe, the Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany, colleagues who are here. With us, I'm also happy to introduce members of the East African Legislative Assembly, the Kenya chapter, represented here by Honorable Abdikadir, Honorable Wanjiku, Honorable Noor, and I think Honorable Fatma is also here. These are people who represent Kenya's agenda in the Legislative Assembly in Arusha. Our being here today, as you've heard from the Minister for Health, is really to receive 2 mobile laboratories to enable us to deal with the current crisis. Our ability to succeed in dealing with this pandemic is dependent on how all of us as East African Community member states work together. Given the nature of our porous borders, as the saying goes, we can only be as strong as the weakest link. And therefore, it is in our interest collectively to work together as EAC member states to make sure that the testing of all our citizens, be they those residents in our respective countries, or those that are mobile through truck driving, are getting sufficient level of testing so that we can deal with this crisis in a big way. We'd like to thank the German government for the support of giving us, as East African Community member states, 9 mobile laboratories, and out of those, 2 of those mobile labs have actually come to Kenya, and it's what we will be receiving here today. I think we have all seen the challenges at border points, and this is as a result of our inability to do testing on site at the destination where these truck drivers are crossing the borders. And so the challenges that we have seen in Namanga borders, others like Malaba and others, hopefully would be dealt with, sufficiently through the deployment of these mobile laboratories. And I also want to thank other supporters, Trademark East Africa in particular, who have been instrumental in building the commerce infrastructure along our borders within East Africa. And we really want to say that all of us, whether we are drivers of trucks who would be benefiting from this through the tests, the health professionals who are administering this, and all colleagues who are at the front line. This morning I was told of a very close colleague that I know of who is at one of the border points who have been serving us very well, has had, to be tested positive. And when you see people that get tested positive, it just tells you how many of our own people are sacrificing themselves to be in the front line to support and build our country and safeguard the interest of the larger community in our country. So without further ado, it is now, I guess, ask the German ambassador to make some remarks before we are going to very humbly receive the mobile labs that the German government has so kindly donated. Ambassador.
I'm not sure you can hear me through the mask. Dear CS Health, CS EAC, both PSs present, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, Germany stands with Kenya in this global fight against COVID-19. We will continue our cooperation with our Kenyan partners and friends in these difficult times. I applaud on behalf of the German government the quick and clear measures that the Kenyan government has taken to slow down the spread of our common enemy. Today I have the honor to assist in handing over 2 COVID-19 mobile testing labs, which are provided through German support by the East African community to Kenya. This cooperation will reinforce Kenya's testing capacities, as the PS said, and as you know, testing is key to flatten the curve. COVID is a crisis that tests our humanity in the way we treat each other. COVID is also a test for governments everywhere. I'm sure of one thing: we can only beat the pandemic if we work together. Our humanity matters, our international cooperation, multilateralism matters. These mobile labs are an example of multilateral approach. Kenya is receiving these testing laboratories from the EAC. Allow me to highlight some areas of German solidarity with Kenya in combating the virus. The East African community and Germany have in recent years expanded their cooperation in the area of pandemic preparedness. Part of this German support, financed through KfW, is the supply of mobile laboratories to all 6 member states. 2 of those mobile testing laboratories to Kenya, which you see here on the site, and they consist of, as you can see, cars and lots of testing materials and whatever is needed for such a mobile laboratory. They will enable our Kenyan partners to detect communicable diseases on the ground and react accordingly. The timing of today's handover is pertinent with the corona pandemic, and it's spreading also in Kenya. The procurement of these mobile labs is complemented by a training program, as it was also mentioned, that is done through the renowned Bernhard Nocht Institute of Tropical Medicine in Hamburg. Laboratory staff from Kenya has gone through extensive training both in Germany and in Kenya. Germany also supports the training of all airport staff in Nairobi and Mombasa on how to operate airports under the impact of COVID-19. This training program, which is also done through the EAC, will start next week. Furthermore, I assisted earlier this week in the unveiling of another project to increase testing in Kenya. The new cooperation between the Ministry of Health and the International Livestock Research Institute, ILRI, through German support, ILRI will now offer an additional capacity of 800 tests per day in Kenya. I sincerely hope that Kenya will overcome COVID-19 crisis with as little lives lost, as little economic damage done, and as little people's lives severely affected by the crisis. Let me send my condolences to all Kenyans who have lost their dear ones due to the crisis so far. To conclude, I would also like to emphasize that the German government stands firmly on the side of the Kenyan people to overcome this crisis and will contribute to tackling the negative impacts in Kenya in the future, as well as we have done in the past. Thank you very much for your attention, and it's my pleasure to be part of the handing over of the 2 mobile test laboratories to the government of Kenya, represented through 2 CSs here present. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Barozi. Asante sana. Before we do the physical handover, I once again want to thank my colleague, CS Zedan Mohammed, and the Ambassador Annette Gunter, for your kind words as we continue to fight this pandemic. As the coincidence would have it, on this day, when we get this fantastic gift, we also announce 2 things. Number 1 is that the number of cases today actually was the highest since the pandemic began, at 66 persons, with 64 of those being Kenyans, and 2 of them and 2 others being foreign nationals. We have also continued to see the rise across the counties, and therefore arising from this situation, and in order to contain further spread of the virus, the National Emergency Response Committee on Coronavirus announces and directs as follows. A is an extension of the cessation of movement in and out of Eastleigh in the cessation of movement in and out of Old Town, Mombasa, until the 6th of June, 2020. In addition to that, the malls, the eateries, restaurants are supposed to remain closed and hawking prohibited until Saturday, the 6th of June, 2020. This, ladies and gentlemen, is essentially to keep the areas you contained, so that in the next few days we can finally bring some form of control towards those areas, so that the disease does not continue spreading. And of course, you will have noted then that if we have 66 cases, the other unfortunate milestone is that we have now hit, Kenya has now hit a figure of over 1,000 positive cases to 1,029 cases. Mombasa continues to be the challenge, with 30 of those cases being in Mombasa and 26 of those cases being in Nairobi. Kajiado, because of the issues that have been there with the truck drivers, again, we have recorded 3 persons in Kajiado. So the Mombasa, as I said, that's why we have had to do the extension, but also the areas that are concerned continuously now would be Rikoni as well as Shangamwe. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you once again. Today is a busy day because of all the things that are happening in this presser, but I want you to bear with us because we need to get all these things done at the same time. We will extend further comments on these matters in tomorrow's presser. I thank you. So I want us to do the physical presentation, and then we can take a few questions if there are any. Shall we?
I'm joining the World Health Organization's Safe Hands Challenge. Hand washing is one of the most effective ways of preventing the spread of coronavirus.
Good morning, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television, broadcasting from you from the East African, to you from the East African state of Kenya in Nairobi City, live, the only African station that talks about Africa, engages with anybody who talks about Africa, the youth, the education, the employment. All these things are with us. COVID-19 is now the centerpiece of every discussion in every home state across Africa. Thank you very much. This is Daytime Break Express, which is brought to you by Punchline Africa Television in conjunction with Radio Punchline Africa. We are together. You don't listen to us only on TV. You can also listen to us on radio, 24 hours, 7 days a week. 365 a week. The man down there you see right now in the checkered shirt is the man controlling the equipment of the radio Punchline Africa. His voice is charming. His voice is interesting. And he listens. I always listen to him. He doesn't know I'm listening, but I do listen to him. Just go on your phone. Don't fight with the remote with the children at home. I know many of you now are with children at home. Many of you are in your parents' homes. Don't fight for the remote. Just go on your phone. If you have bundles, listen to the music, listen to his news, listen to television. Watch our television, Punchline Africa Television. Today we have a very interesting topic this morning. The economy of Kenya and the region. How is it affected? Yesterday we left a hot debate. Really, you missed one of the hottest debates about the potatoes. We don't have even maize. We don't have flour. It shocked very many. Miriam, others, all of us were shocked that today we are talking of a country without enough food. What do we do with this food? With us in the studio, in the left-hand corner, is none other than Miriam Ogutu. Good morning.
A very good morning to you.
Yes, it looks like someone is also coming in with iPhone. Mr. Barak has not given up. Good morning, Barak. He's not yet ready. We've asked our guest down in Nairobi, in Thika. Is it Thika?
Yes.
Yes, in Thika.
I am here.
Okay, thank you very much. Hold the line. Now you are talking like an American. Hold the line. Is Lily Mwangi. Lily Mwangi is the queen of the what? Can you say something, Lily?
I'm the founder queen for United Kenya.
The founder queen for United Kenya. There you are. I think Kenya is going to be a monarch, but that's not. Let's leave it there. Another guest of ours from United States of America, a great friend of mine, I'm a friend of the family. I'm a great friend of the family. A man called Barack. Yourself, can you? I know that name only. I always call you Baraka.
Yes,
Baraka.
indeed, Dr. Yes, indeed. How are you, sir? A pleasure to join you today.
Introduce yourself, my brother. You now talk American English.
I'm still Kenyan. It's a pleasure to be here with you, Dr. man. I am Baraka, man. I'm a long student of the Dr. here, the general, man. And I'm here to just talk and explain myself about, the situation. I'm a political scientist and my MBA right now with international studies. So I just have a few things that I'd like to say in terms of the diplomacy part about Kenya. So yeah, that's a small part of me. So
Thank you.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much. A student of international studies, diplomacy. He will be telling us he's linked to Miriam by osmosis in the sense that they agree on the question of Mr. Magufuli's behavior. So yesterday he listened to our debate. He was very, very, very impressed, Miriam, about the debate that we conducted yesterday. And for your information, Mr. Barack is our United States link man. He links Punchline to 1 million people in the States from 2016. He has been linking whatever we broadcast here, he gives to other small radio stations, Ugandans, Tanzanians, South Africans. Thank you very much for the good work you have done, my son.
Absolutely. You're very welcome, Dr.
Last, in the corner there is Radio Punchline. I hope you listen to the music. You told me you enjoyed the rumba so much.
Of course.
Yes. Thank you very much.
And the reggae, and just a little bit of reggae. Rumba and the reggae, we're good.
Oh, I can see you have become reggae now. Reggae here is not stopping. we must cheer up on this show. Let's not look as if we are going to the city mortuary. Let's cheer up. Let's laugh a bit. In the corner there is Pande Wapande Wapande, Mr. Makan.
Yes.
The radio presenter of Punchline Africa Television, also stock Radio Punchline Africa. Sawa, tuendelee.
Yeah.
Miriam, give us the shocking figures. Yesterday was the highest figure that we have ever seen. 60-something,
80.
But don't get worried. I have a solution for this. Not the South Sudan solution, where they are selling SIM cards, saying it finishes COVID. Massive people have entered this region. You better be careful. Yeah, Miriam, over to you.
All right. A very good morning, good afternoon, good evening to our viewers, wherever you're watching us across the globe. So yesterday, Kenya yet again saw another high marked yesterday as 80 cases were recorded in the country to bring the total number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 to 1,109, and 50 deaths so far have been recorded in the country, 375 recoveries, and also in South Sudan the cases right now stands at 481. 4 people have died, 4 others have recovered. Uganda, the cases right now is at 160 because President Museveni said the number of people who are tested in Uganda are truck drivers and are not Ugandans, then those numbers should be given back to their countries, so Uganda will not be keeping up that tally. So right now Uganda has 160 cases and 66 others have recovered. And in South Africa, the country that leads in the continent, is 19,137. The death toll there is 369. Recoveries is 8,950. And then Sudan, also something that should worry us here. I see the numbers, they are quite high, 3,138. The number of people that have died there is 121. 309 others have recovered. The rest of the statistics we shall look at later.
Thank you very much, Miriam. I begin with our guests. Guest number 1, ladies first. Barack, you want to complain? Lily Mwangi. Lily Mwangi from Thika in Kenya.
Yeah.
My dear sister, there you are. The figures are stunning. Miriam has read them. 66 yesterday infected. The good thing with Kenya, if we maintain the discipline, by the end of this thing around September, we shall have caught all the fish we want in the net. And then the other places like Efika are spared. That's the strategy of the government of Kenya. People are saying, condemning Mutahi Kagwe. But if you have read what they call sampling, like I've done, the sampling will show you. That's why I agreed with Miriam straight away that September could be the month when smiles could be on our faces. I don't know why people are rushing to bring their children to danger. Education is not running away. Schools are not running away. Buildings are not running away. We can lose some time, but let's not lose where we shall not get. It's very difficult to get a child, though. All of you are parents. Some intend to be parents. I think all of us on the panel, I don't know about Lily, but it's that we leave it to you, Lily, our figures, our COVID strategy.
I intend to be a parent that time. So I'm a very shocked Kenyan today because yesterday we recorded the highest number of cases since the first case was announced in Kenya, that was in March. And we have 80 new cases. But on the same light, we also have mass testing that is going on. So we can hugely attribute the large numbers into the mass testing that is going on, which is a good thing. And also the cases in Kenya are a bit, more of them are mild and asymptomatic. So meaning that what the CS has been saying that anyway, the person who is seated next to you might as well be having COVID is proving to be a very true statement because the more we do mass testing, the more numbers we are getting by the day. So 80 is really on the higher side, and even more shocked as the DG told us that the projections, they are looking at around 200, we'll be reporting around 200 cases by September if we continue the way we are living, yeah? And so I'm a very shocked Kenyan. But on the same light, I think that it is the high time that, like we said yesterday, let us have a homemade strategy for this COVID, because as we can see, COVID-19 is here to stay. It's going nowhere. We don't have a vaccine or a cure yet. So let us start thinking of homemade strategies as to how we are living with this and how we are able to accommodate this disease with us here. Also looking at the cases in the region, the cases are rising by the day. Looking at Uganda, we don't have the figures for Tanzania as yet, which is very shocking. And connecting it to reopening of schools, I think this is not the time we should be thinking about reopening schools.
Lily?
Because we don't really, yes?
Just a correction there. The figures of Tanzania are 509, but that was about 2 weeks ago. So the government of Tanzania has not updated us yet on the recent, testing that they've been doing there. But the figures right now from 2 weeks ago is 509.
Thank you. Yeah, like I said, we don't really know where Tanzania stands as at now. So we can't really talk much about Tanzania. But owed to the number of rising cases, I think this is not the time we should be thinking about opening schools. I saw Magufuli yesterday say that they're going to reopen schools on 1st of June. I know that is a very sensitive topic to be bringing up right now, because opening of schools is a very sensitive issue if we don't have strategy on how we're going to contain the disease yet. So I think that this is the time we should be thinking of the strategies, not really the reopening of schools. If you look at Kenya, we have a population of 150 million students or people in school. So meaning we cannot be able, 150, I don't know, 150,000. So meaning that we cannot be able to lose our children. And as our CS said, this he bracketed the 20 to 39 age group as the mosquitoes, meaning that these are the people getting the disease, but they're not actually succumbing from the disease. they are passing it to their parents and to people who have pre-existing conditions, and these are the people that we are losing. So if our children get infected, it means that they are going to infect our parents who are in the elderly age bracket or the geriatric, and then we are going to lose the elder population as to what happened to Italy. So I think that this is the time that we should be thinking about the strategies, not yet the reopening of schools. And I'd like to congratulate the government for having put up or set up a committee that is looking into the strategies of how do we really get to reopen the schools. If we see figures from other countries, Singapore, Japan, their figures started going up as they reopen the schools. So we should really be thinking critically on the reopening of schools.
Thank you very much. Barack, I come to you.
Yes, sir. Yes.
From United States of America, the disease, you have now watched the pattern of the disease. You have seen how it has wiped out people in homes.
Absolutely.
It went for the elderly in their homes.
Absolutely.
Give us an experience briefly in 2 minutes.
Well, I'll first start off by saying I think the United States really dropped the bomb. Like it's really affecting a lot of people here. It's really catastrophic. I think we have a presidency, and I think we have an establishment where there's a real difference and a breaking point between the federal government and governors. And that's, I think, another thing that could be a positive is because, we're fortunate to be here in a place where the federal government has a mandate and the governors, the states also have a mandate on themselves. But in terms of looking at it holistically speaking, we're doing terrible. We had, I think, by last week when I looked, we had 90,000 Americans who had passed away from this disease. If you look at New York City, I mean, it's a mess. It's terrible. Florida, the governor there was saying everyone can go do their thing. The cases are rising in Florida. As of yesterday, they were not counting. They're not even counting any more numbers in Florida. This is how, ridiculous it is, because we have certain governors in Florida where they don't think this COVID-19 exists. It's another Magufuli there. They think this is a joke. So it's really affecting us over here in the United States. And I think we're taking lessons and we're learning and we're looking. I think this is one of those definitions where that I look at and say, you know what, this is where the West has really not gotten it right. And let's look at somewhere else. I think there's certain countries in Africa that are doing actually way better than some of us in the United States.
Okay, thank you. Back to Pandey.
Yes, good morning, wherever you are, all of you. Thank you for including me in this particular debate. And actually, my take is that a lot of parents are actually worried about their children doing KCP and KCC exam. This is actually what is worrying them. But most important is the safety of our children. If Class 8 and Form 4 candidates will need to a minimum of 5 months to prepare for the exams, of course, and excluding 2 weeks of the break to rest. And of course, my proposal is that both candidates should report to school as soon as the Ministry of Health deems it safe for them to do so. And if necessary precautions for their safety and transport can be made possible, because some of the pupils or the students normally maybe go back home. They are on day scholar kind of program, so they go home sometimes on public transport. So there'll be no need if they open the schools and then they start mixing with the public. It will also be dangerous for them, maybe for their health. And of course, I can give you an example. For example, when reopening the schools, we shall also maybe be required to provide these pupils with the necessary safety measure. For example, they have to have some the masks. And I've heard some of the Ministry of Health in various countries, or even here in Kenya, some people saying that there's an age that these children should not be allowed to wear the masks. So I don't know if maybe you allow the PP1 maybe to standard 4 to wear the masks, will it be possible? So there are some factors that we will have to look at, and therefore it is not safe to reopen the schools until the curve is flattened.
It's coming.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. I forgot to mention that here our schools are closed. Schools are closed for the rest of the year. Like schools are closed because schools are closed for the rest of the year.
Nobody's talking.
For
Thank
the
you.
rest of the year.
We got your point. We got your point. Thank you, my American Barack. In America, the schools where everybody goes to get these PhDs, the schools are closed. Now, you Kenyans, it is your last day today. Miriam, we have already jumped on the other topic because it seems sweeter. So for me, I think for change this, you are in the studio, change to the newspapers first. Let's hammer the newspapers headlines for Barack to tell us these hitting headlines and really to tell us the hitting headline. Today is a hot day down in Nairobi. Yes, it is a do or die for Jubilee Party.
Yes, in the...
President Uhuru Kenyatta is asserting power tonight, dropping one of the knives. The center cannot hold anymore. Chinawa Achebe say, perhaps you have been away for too long. You remember page 53 of Things Fall Apart, which I recite. I did that in 1974, but I still recite it here. He said, perhaps, Barack, you have been away for too long.
No, I haven't. I always come home. No, I haven't been away for too long now.
Mafia clan has changed. Indeed. The white man has put a knife on the things that held us together. We are falling apart. A bicycle drinks milk. You know, the bicycle drinks milk. When you see the chain in the village, the oil mixes with water, it makes a white substance. But the mafia men did not know that was chemistry. Now Miriam dropped the bombs for us.
Right.
Then we come back to this subject of students because it looks so sweet. Okay. We want to talk about our children. Today go to school, surely. You return people whom you manufacture with God. You return them to die or you take yourself first.
Dr. Matanga, can I just...
Keep it, Miriam. Go ahead. I'm controlling this. Very nice. Miriam, it is over to you.
Yes, and we look at the Star newspaper this morning. There, Doctor, the front pages. DP Ruto invades Uhuru's backyard. The government directed all donations be channeled to the COVID-19 emergency fund. And then, yes, DP visits Kikuyu constituency to distribute donations in bags marked Ruto Foundation. So that is the headline on the Star newspaper this morning.
The headline in the Star, which production team should bring on the screen for Mr. Barack to tell us. President William Ruto is invading the backyard of the president, giving food outside the COVID-19 emergency arrangements. Alone. Barack.
Well, I think this is the thing, and again, you know, I'm a student of diplomacy, and I think where things are going, I think the most important thing for me is to look at I personally think politics is not for now. I think there's certain things, you know, I always believe you can never outshine your master. You know, that's, I think, one of the first rules of you know, Sun Tzu. You know, I think where the Kenyan citizen is, they're focused on really serious matters. I think there are very serious situations that are going on. You know, parents are struggling to take their students to school. People are struggling with this epidemic that's a global phenomenon that people are not even knowing how to deal with. I think there's so many different things that are happening right now, and politics should not be the forefront of what I think ordinary Kenyans are thinking about. So for me, when I see these things, I try to look at them from a scope of, I think, the people, the voice of the people is always stronger than the voice of the few men. So I would always say, this is not, you never want to outshine your master, but I think we're all living in such, interesting times, and we need to, there's bigger things that I think Kenyans are worried about right now, focusing on such politics.
Thank you, Barack. I come to Lydian, and before I come to you, be honest. Why doesn't the deputy president carry the food that he has hidden somewhere and deliver it to the committee, to the COVID emergency unit, openly, work with this, encourage more people to give out this food? Sincerely speaking, these threats of threatening people every time, everywhere, must end. And we must hammer the real thing correctly. Why is he not delivering the food to the COVID emergency committee? So that, why are you walking around the country populist style? This man Barack has just said, don't outshine your master. Me, I don't want to say much, I'm a moderator here. Because me, I have pain in my chest. Why should someone go and deliver food single-handedly when he's the deputy president of the country, instead of going to work with the committee that the same government has put in place? Lydian.
I think that, Sari, the second question we should be asking is why did the deputy president bring the food to Kikuyu, that is in Kiambu, and thousands of people are suffering in Elgeyo Marakwet from floods, and you haven't seen him take food there. So I think there are very important, very permanent questions that are coming out. And first of all, earlier in the handling of this COVID-19 case, we saw the president and the deputy president and various government officials taking pay cuts to be channeled to the COVID-19 emergency fund, which was a very good gesture. And we saw them taking, like, I think 80% of their pay cut with the president, which was a good gesture to Kenyans and to every other person. But then yesterday we saw the deputy president take under the William Samoei Ruto Foundation, which most Kenyans are even actually questioning whether there is such a foundation to Kikuyu and to donate food. We don't really think, and we don't condemn giving, because even the Bible says that the hand that giveth is the hand that receives. But then the motive and the timing is really questionable. This is coming at a time when Jubilee is in wrangles and Jubilee is really fighting. And so why does William Ruto still continue to sort of camp in the president's backyard, despite of everything that is going on politically in the country right now? This seems like a counter-attack to me politically, because the president right now is trying to clean up the mess in Jubilee and all that is happening. Then he has been quiet all the time. Then he just comes up and gives out food in Kikuyu, which happens to be in Kiambu County, which is one of the most populous counties in Mount Kenya region. That should send a signal to the president and to his team that this is not just donation. Yes.
Was this food pandemic? Don't make many statements. No longer statement. Was this food distributed to the needy? The men in the pictures, are they needy? You come with a soup. No, you come with a soup.
Yes.
A cabbage, 1 cabbage and 1 kilo of kimbo. Was this food distributed to the needy? Then the not lie to people.
We seem, Doctor, we seem to be having, hold on, just a moment. From the studio, seem to be having a problem with the Mpambe's audio, so while they're fixing it, maybe somebody else will take on that question. Because
you come in, Miriam.
Yeah. But for me, I'll just read from the paper here, and maybe our panel would respond better there. And it says that critics say Ruto is simply daring Kenyatta that he would go directly to the people for his 2022 presidential bid, despite the Jubilee takeover. So said similar drives are lined up by the DP in most constituencies where MPs backing his bid are facing the president's wrath. Ruto has been quietly making donations in parts of the country, including the coast, through elected and religious leaders. So he's saying, as much as we've seen some of his very close allies even now facing to be removed, or even the nominated senators and others to be removed from their positions because of their lack of allegiance to the Jubilee party that gave them that ticket. But he's saying even with that, this looks like he's daring President Uhuru Kenyatta. I don't know what our panelists will say to that.
You know what, Miriam, I have first and foremost, I want to give a huge shout out to you. I think you do an incredible job. You host this thing here. Some of us follow.
Thank you.
Different groups of students here watch you, and we appreciate you. And like I always say, as Dr. Matsanga always says, you can't look at Sicily. You can't be at Rome and Sicily is burning, right? Is that the same, doctor?
Very well.
You cannot look at Rome when Sicily is
burning. Right.
Back in Erenguio Marakwet, there are people sleeping without food. Why is the deputy president not looking at Sicily? Back in Eldoret, there are people crying that they want to get out of this whole place. You saw yesterday on TV, all of you, people, traders in Eldoret, saying they don't have even money. Why do you look at Rome when Sicily is burning? Unless you are dubious man, you are looking for something that you want to fight your boss. But it is not a surprise to me, David Matang, because I will fall one day, and I don't mind falling. But when I fall, the repercussions will be worse than when I'm alive. That's what Julius Caesar told the Roman Empire. The killing of Julius Caesar was an event, but the collapse of Julius Caesar collapsed the Roman Empire. You remember that? It went down from the Ottoman Empire to came overran the entire Italy and the barbarians. So that's not a problem. The problem here is this. We are all friends of Jubilee Party. I am a friend, I'm not a voter. But I find it very interesting, very intriguing for a deputy not to respect the boss, yet they all have a telephone call to make.
But I think, Doctor, to be balanced and to be fair, I think, that's the intriguing part about politics, right? I think, and trying to be not biased, not picking sides, is to say that I think also in his perspective, in his part, things have changed. Things have changed. Like if we go back 3-4 years ago, we never had the coalition party. We never had any of these things come into play. So I think things have fallen apart, as you said. Things have literally fallen apart. Things have fallen apart.
Even if, thank you very much, Barack, Miriam, and Pande, and Mwangi. That's one of the headlines. DP Ruto invades Uhuru Bakaya.
But
I don't know.
Yes.
The knife seems to be falling tonight. I think Pande, we shall exclude you a bit.
Yes.
And sort out your microphone. Yes.
Yes, I think, we will come to
Pande, until your microphone is sorted out.
Yes.
But just wait and listen to us. You'll only play us the Friday music that we are interested in.
Yes, but Doctor, also there's something here that one of in the comments that before we leave that story and go to the other headline, commentary by Ngunjiri Wambugu, and he's saying that what we saw in Kikuyu constituency is William Ruto telling President Uhuru Kenyatta that he is not going to be cowed. Let us be honest, there are very many places that the DP could have chosen to distribute food He decided to do it in Kenyatta's backyard to send a message that he can go to president's backyard anytime without his permission. This is a continuation of defiance, which in Sheng they say utadu, like what will you do? This is an attitude Ruto has shown his boss for a long time now. What do you say to that?
It's true. It's true without being biased. It's true. There is a sense that the deputy president and his henchmen, the Murkomans, the Kindikis. There's somebody who said Kindiki helped to rule helped to President Uhuru in the ICC. No. Kindiki was not a lawyer of President Uhuru Kenyatta. And let Kenyans get that very clear. Kindiki was a lawyer of William Ruto. He was brought on William Ruto team. Our team of President Uhuru Kenyatta was different. The only man who was on technical team, I did not know anyone, is the man speaking to you now. I went there as a freedom fighter of Africa. Nobody gave me the money to go there. So nobody should say Kindiki should not be removed because he was representing President Uhuru. No, he just sat near Uhuru in the court, but he was not our lawyer. That's stupidity of the highest degree. 2, going to ICC does not mean you can come and belittle the president. You don't come because you have helped the president, belittle him. I have never belittled the president. Neither have I belittled the deputy president. Despite the fact that none of them has ever called me for even a tea. And I know Baraka is about to laugh. I have never been called for tea. Honestly.
Let me know if you want tea. I'll call you. I'll call my mom and we can organize for the tea.
Yes. I have never been called for tea, even tea in annex. But the deputy president has continued calling even enemies, like Moses Kuria, who collected, witnesses to fix him. Like Murkomen, who wrote statements to fix him. He's the one who is giving money to go around. Most of the people destroying the deputy president's career are Murkomen, Moses Kuria, Ichungwa, Dindi Nyoro, the merchant whom I was paying 5,000 to appear here. That he now is also an MP of Kiharu. Somewhere there he makes, yet this boy is very young, who should have listened to President Uhuru Kenyatta. I mean, his history is not even nationalistic. He's not. So the people who have brought Jupiter President is a star. You might think it is rising, but let the knife fall. It will not rise. I'm telling you.
Okay.
The way where Kenyatta is now is not reversing. He's going today. Why is the Senate sitting on Friday? Let Ruto ask himself. He says he has power. Why is the Senate sitting on Friday today? You know our parliament does not sit on Friday, mister. Any parliament leaves on Thursday and they go to their constituency. Why is the Senate sitting at 2:30? It's because the president of the party, the leader of the party, has taken a stand that enough is enough. And for me, Miriam, before I leave this topic, I want to tell you frankly, I have no regrets. I have no regrets. Let the president not stop there only. That the president has 2 years left. It is not even 2 years, Jermaine. It's less than 2 years. Let the president clean his party. If he has nobody left behind, let him remain alone. He still has his party. and his 2 years to finish. But this remaining 2 years, President Uhuru Kenyatta should not listen, should deliver something to Kenyans, should leave something for Kenyans, should leave it behind the legacy of unity. Mine is the legacy of unity I'm fighting for. If tomorrow I don't fly to Kenya because Ruto is the president, so be it. The other African countries where I can fly. Yes, some people don't know that we have serious sentiments to say. But don't forget, you also need me in the international community. Don't forget I'm powerful there. You can molest me here, but I'm powerful somewhere. So let people know, those who belittle me, I will check you up there. You might not also come there. So if President Uhuru Kenyatta is cleaning his party, tonight, let the knife fall. Next week, Mr. President, don't allow Ichungwa to molest you. Go for him. Ichungwa is a product of George Soros. He's George Soros. He's funded, his projects are funded by George Soros for the foundation, which is pumping money through Kikuyu constituency. It's George Soros point one. Kenyans fear to talk. Oh, they will threaten you, they will kill you. Kill everybody. Kill everybody. But don't forget, spare some heart for your own tears. Don't forget, when you threaten others, don't forget that you should spare your own heart for some tears. That is the truth now today. And the Baraka, I'm saying it, you are here, your mom is hearing. Don't forget, when you threaten people who are just telling you you are doing bad manners, spare some space for your tears, because yours could be harder. Yes, because we have a mafia system here threatening people in this country.
But doctor,
no, wait, when you speak, they will threaten you. No. Uhuru Kenyatta must go on, party this party, get the right people in the party to make the program for Kenyans to work.
Can I ask a question, doctor? Can I ask a question, Dr.
Yes.
Do you really think this is the best time for this to be taking place right now? All this political business. Do you think this is the right? Do you think the average Kenyan right now, the average Kenyan in Kariobangi, in you know those areas in Kenya, like the Kibera, all those other places. Do you think they want to hear politics right now? Do you really think to them? Do you think to them when they see this, like to them? And I'm just speaking from their perspective. Do you think, as the president, what precedent is this really setting for them? Are they really looking at this and saying, "Oh my goodness, there's so much going on right now. There's no jobs. There's no institutions are closed. Everything is shut down, and this is what the priority of the government is." Is this really right?
Barak, I will leave the panel to answer some of those questions, especially Miriam. The truth here is not, to me, this is not the right time for us to have brought, for the people, for Deputy President Ruto to have brought politics in a collective responsibility affair. The people of Kenya chose them to lead this country. At the time of war, the Deputy President has cut himself from the president. He has gone underground. We thought it was COVID-19 taking him underground. Now he has surfaced with giving food parallel to the government institutions, doing parallel things against the state. This is against the state. Daring the president. It's not Matanga. I'm not the one who told him to go with cabbage and akimbo to the Kikuyus who are very well. What is he trying to give a message? What about the people of Elengaya market who are sleeping where dam money was stolen? Who stole the dam money? Who took the dam money? Where is the 7 billion shillings gone? Let's ask hard questions. I might not be a Kenyan, but that dam could have saved me from Lake Victoria rising up. Have you seen Lake Victoria swallowing houses in Kenya, in Uganda? Lake Victoria, the water from that dam, if you build several dams, Barak, Lake Victoria will go down. Now people's houses are being swallowed because there's no more water is coming in. So don't tell me it will not affect me. Where is the dam money? Kimero, Italian mafia took our money. Italian mafia. And the Baraka, don't look that way. Look at my eyes.
I know, I hate
You're a student of international diplomacy, relations, you know, institutions. The Italian mafia threatening everybody here. They took that 21 billion, they have taken it, we are following them up, and they are threatening us. The Kenyans need that money back. The Kenyans need those dams. No pretense. You cannot campaign in this country when you have not returned that money.
Doctor, I don't disagree with you
You
whatsoever.
will not campaign. And what can you kwambie leo mjue? Someone will not campaign here when that money is not here. Hiyo mjue leo. Hiyo pesa inatakiwa. You can't just hammer 21 and you go and buy helicopters. Pay your debts. Pay your debts with Kenyan money in Italy. Then you come back here to tell people, threaten them. No. Where's the bank statement? Where's the bank guarantee? We were told that Murkomen told us there's a bank guarantee. Where's that money? If we are fighting corruption, really, Miriam, where's the money? Where's the money? Didi, where's the money? You're a younger man, a lady, you are looking for a job. How many students have come out of the university? And they hear 21 billion was taken. People went to pay their bills. And then they told us there's a bank guarantee. Where is the bank guarantee? Bring it to Kenya. Show one copy of the bank guarantee. Mnatisha watu. Threatening people, we shall kill you. Kill so many. Kill so many. You have killed too many people. Kill many. Your threat, you could threaten what to watch. Let the public of Kenya know now. You are threatening people every day. Because we are speaking, we are journalists. You don't want us to speak. Barak, you don't want us to speak because you are mafia. You think you are more mafia than others. Unafikiri wewe uko mafia than others. Yenye.
This is not fair, Doctor.
No.
Miriam, come help me here, Miriam.
Look here, Miriam. This money was taken. This money was taken. Every Kenyan knows this money was taken. It paid bills of people in Italy. Why should we hide it to tell this? I've signed it today. They went and squared their bills. I don't have a house registered in Italy in my name. Then you tell people, threaten people, but leave tears. Half your heart must have space for your own tears. Kwenda.
And Dr.
Miriam, you can take over the show, control the show. I've gone. That is all. Let people know today. I am not looking for a penny of that money. I'm crying on behalf of Kenyans who cannot speak, whose money was taken and given to the mafia in Italy. Yes. What type of journalism would you play if you are keeping quiet and the money went to pay bills of some people in Italy? And then you sit here, you call yourself you are on Zoom. We are on Zoom. Zoom doing what? How many people will you kill? How many? You are an expert of executing people. You execute more. But remember, mafia is mafia. You might claim to be the highest, but there are people who are higher in the game. You can't threaten everybody like that. You can't. We are only following to make sure that that man in Italy does not say he died of COVID-19. So our people in France are following slowly so that the man does not change plastic surgery to say he died of COVID. But we want the money back here. A Mororo Dam pains me so much. You know why it pains me so much? Lake Victoria is rising. It's swallowing people's property in Kisumu because the water is not controllable. The landslide came and swept away people's things. And then you are dismembering the same state that we selected to safeguard. Miriam, for me, I'm sorry. I will just now listen. I've vented my problem that my students, wherever they are, I hate corruption. And I hate thieves. And don't tell me there is hustle a nation here. Which hustle? Hustle a nation, my food. Listen to me. Hustle a what? You just say 3 categories of Kenya. Thieving nation. A nation where thieves have collected money from the poor and from the government contracts. Then they call themselves a hustler. How do you call yourself a hustler? Susan Kihika, that you're a hustler. When you own a 40 billion estate of your father Kihika, then you call yourself a hustler. You shout to the president every morning because you think you are beautiful. Doesn't he have children who see you without him? Me, I'm immune of insults. My daughters write to me every evening. I have 5 of them, very beautiful. They write to me, telling me every evening, Dad, what is this? Why don't you come back? Why don't you do this? Leave this. Why are they insulting you? Oh, hippo, big man, fat this, fat that. What? I stomach all this because I have respect for President Uhuru Kenyatta. But why should a woman elected in Nakuru go on insulting the president throughout? You saw yesterday in Parliament, all these headlines, Miriam, the ones you are going to read, they all touch one thing. All of them, they touch the same thing I'm talking about. Because some people in Kenya fear to talk about corruption. Someone has threatened us a mafia. Mafia people have threatened, watakuja usiku, watakukua. This is stupid. Spare some, have you marked my word? Spare some space for your cry. Take over, Miriam.
All right.
Maybe it was the turn of Lily.
Yeah. So,
she had commented already, or the microphone man has come back.
I think she
I think you can now hear me properly. And of course, just to sum up, actually the COVID crisis is profoundly transforming Kenya's political landscape. And this can be drawn back to the handshake that actually has moved towards bipartisan politics in Kenya that has seen Jubilee Party splitting the ruling through the middle. And remember that these people that we call mafia, they are actually digging against the handshake consensus politics that Honorable Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta brought about. They keep on jeopardizing his legacy that he wants to leave just after 20.
We have a problem there.
22.
William.
So we must, those and privately perhaps, they should come out and just give their support towards the National Emergency Response Committee to help all Kenyans, not just moving to support the.
All right, we seem to be having a technical hitch to the audio of Mr. Mpambe. As he fixes that, we perhaps move to the next newspaper, and that is the Daily Nation.
Yes, please.
And the front page is their major hitch in push for early referendum, and it continues to say leaders are building political formations ahead of the 2022 elections face an uphill task in their clamor for the special vote that will create a new structure of government to accommodate them. So we see, Doctor, the politics of referendum has come here, and as our guest there from the United States has said, perhaps the timing could be a bit off with all this politics. I don't know what he has to say to that.
And before he goes there, before Baraka comes, I know his views already. He has told me something already in the morning. And then I just want to tell him, so that I leave you people to discuss. Point number one. Kenya can never be stable if it does not look at its elections. Forget it, eat your cabbage in Kikuyu, keep quiet. Full stop. If you hold a next election in Kenya without reforms, run towards Lake Victoria to sink you. Because there will be a quagmire. Full stop. And now, from today, I am going to drop those type of bombs. You hold an election in Kenya without reforms, without changing the electoral mechanisms, there will be chaos. Very big chaos. Therefore, I agree with Raila Odinga. And if some people are going to tell me, what? Yes, I agree with him today. They must, and I am telling you, there must be reforms on the electoral system of the government, of the republic, of the governance of Kenya. How we elect our people, how equitably the election could be, how it will stabilize this nation.
But Doctor, do we have less than 2 years? Do we not have less than 2 years?
What is wrong with extending? And then you reform. What's wrong? You are the same people who made the constitution. Can't you extend through another mechanism? Why are you running to go? Why are you running to go to the grave when you have seen the grave already ahead? If you hold this election with Chebukati as the chairman of the Electoral Commission, where we Barak, you live in a sink in Indian Ocean or Atlantic. Don't tell me a lie, Mr. Barak. we must do reform. Kenya must
I agree with you 100%. But don't you think these are some of the things that should have been top priority when the handshake took place? Because, okay, this is how I'm looking at it. Okay, we have 2 years right now, okay? Again, to me, I think it's about narrowing it down back to the people, right? It's the people. And because I think Kenya is going to get to a point where we're going to turn into Sudan. We're going to turn into what's this other? Not Morocco. Where they ignited this whole thing of just rebelling, because I think people are getting really tired of this whole political process that feels like there's no accountability to it. I do agree we do need some reforms, but the reforms, I mean, what did the Kriegler report say that we need? How long do we need before we can actually do the reforms? We need 2 years before that can happen.
Yes.
None of that took place.
24 months. You are right.
Correct.
Believe me or not, Lily, Miriam, Barack, and Apande, if you try to do a ballot in Kenya without reforms, close my ears, I might not be here. If God has taken me, okay. But it will not be the same. Every expert is telling you the problem of Kenya is elections. Then you want to say we need the elections. You are talking of 2022. How will you hold the election in 2022 without reforms? I agree with Raila on this one, that reforms should be made first. Let's do the reforming. Let's reform our electoral system mechanisms. Do we want proportional representation? Do we want to change the way we elect our MPs? Do we need all these guys who take our money? A woman rep, MP, senator, and then there is another one, governor, then deputy governor. Do you need all these people? Do you really need them? They represent Wanjiku, Wafula, Mukami, and they are the same, talking about the same people at the same time. You really need them in Kenya? I don't think you need some of them. Some of them can as well go to the backyard. A referendum is very important. Therefore, that's all my summary.
All right, and Lillian, if you can hear me, I don't know what is your take on that. You've been quiet now.
First of all, I'd like to answer Barack, and he said that, is this really the time that we should be bringing up politics amidst the pandemic, the global pandemic that we're all suffering? And I think in Kenya, we can't separate politics from development. Yeah, we're in such kind of a system where politics is equals to development, and bad politics equals to poor development, and that is very much evidenced by even what Daktari has said. Looking at how the rampant cases of corruption and so many loopholes we have in our systems, and of course we can't really have development if we still have the same, we're still doing things at status quo. So I think for us, politics has become part of life, yeah?